Season of Discovery is back. The PTR for Phase 4 Level 60 content is now open or out for anyone to go in and test all of the new changes. A ton of class changes happening, and I'll try to log back in. A ton of class changes are happening, and there's quite a bit of information, and I will try to break down all of the most important things for you here today. Now, we're not going to go through things specifically like all of the data mined tier sets, but the tier set bonuses look amazing for some classes. For some classes, they're random, right? Like a mage tier set from the tier 1 is their 2-piece is they're literally immune to taking all damage during evocation. Like that's an interesting choice. But one of the cool things is there are now set bonuses for every single class and specialization. This means if you are a melee hunter or a range hunter, you have a set for that. This is if you're a DPS or if you are a tank warrior, boomkin, all of those things, right? Especially what's interesting is in the same vein, you also have a unique set for your tier 0 and tier 0.5, or potentially not tier 0, but tier 0.5, which is what you have on the beta to be able to test with. Also, a ton of abilities changed, but one of the coolest ones is this one called Meat Hook. This is literally a death grip from Death Knights. Warriors are getting Meat Hook, which is a Death Knight death grip, and their 30-minute CDs have all been nerfed a little bit, but brought down to 5 minutes. So Retail, Shield Wall, and Recklessness, this now a 50% crit down to 5 minutes. That's one of the broader changes for classes, but a lot of classes had things change like Shamanistic Rage or the Hunter giving Kings are now in your actual spell book as they're no longer going to be runes. Sorry for stuttering a little bit. There are also a ton of new runes, and I won't break down all of the new runes today, but we now have ring runes, which your ring runes are going to be things like increasing your weapon skill. So we have the weapon skills for everything as well as ranged weapon skill. There's unique ones for casters that also give 6% hit to all of your spells that you can use. So a free 6% hit is absolutely amazing. We also now have cloak runes, which are all pretty awesome, and most classes have some new runes or some reworks of their rune system that reworks the way the classes play. All of the classes are different now, and I will get into how the classes all have changed in another video coming soon. Some of them are bugged on the PTR, and there is a patchwork style boss that you can go to test out your new rotations, test out all of the new runes. But again, some classes are bugged, but some classes are performing really well. Mages on short fights are doing amazing damage if it's this short single target fight, or overall throughout a raid, now they do a ton of damage. Right? Feral Druids also very, very solid because they now can do increased damage, but they got a Feral Swipe for cats, which is a ton of AoE damage. If I can go back to when we were doing the dungeons and testing out some of the dungeons earlier, Feral Druids are doing amazing damage on pretty much every pull because they can swipe all the time. Rogues got a Fan of Knives, which is beautiful to see. Some of the classes that were really left out and weren't doing super well are now feeling very, very strong. Let me see if I get back to the guys over. Why am I away from everyone? Here's a decent pull. Okay, so you can see Rogue, Fan of Knives, as well as the Feral Druid Swipe, making them feel really, really powerful. Now, Warriors did see a ton of damage reduction go out, so we're gonna see how that really pans out. Warriors also have this new ability that gives them wings, which looks so sick. It's called Sudden Death. I think it makes their slam procs instant, but Sudden Death is beautiful. It looks really, really sick. So aesthetically, there's a lot of cool things. Feral Druids no longer dumpster. Now let's go back to what else changed. Molten Core is going to be a 20-man raid, but there is a heroic version. That's right, we're getting a heroic version of Molten Core. There is a new variable difficulty mechanic that you can use, and if I can pull over one of the screenshots that was sent to me. So when you enter into Molten Core, you start out with a heat level debuff on you. You'll get teleported out initially, but you start with a heat level debuff on you, and you can move it up to heat level 2 and heat level 3. So 3 levels of difficulty within Molten Core, and it all comes from Duke Hydraxis. You'll probably need to farm your Hydraxian Waterlord rep right away, but you'll also notice that Crix got teleported out instantly when he was in there. But that's really cool to see. Also, world bosses, Azure Ghost and Doomlord Kazakh will now be instanced versions of these, so you won't be fighting against the entire rest of the server. You'll actually have a chance to do it. This is good and bad for some people. Some people in Classic love fighting for world bosses, but realistically only like 1 or 2 guilds on every server ever have a chance to get the world bosses, whoever brings the most people. So these will be pretty cool, as well as Onyxia will be, you'll be able to take on Onyxia at a 40-man raid size, but it will be adjusted to accommodate 40 or fewer players going along with additional loot adjustments. So we'll definitely see some pretty cool changes with Onyxia, as well as the world bosses are tuned for 20-man, and you can bring up to 40 people into there. So a lot of really cool changes, as well as new loot from a lot of the main dungeons. So the second half of Blackrock Depths, Blackrock Spire, not the lower Blackrock Spire, we went through and cleared that, but upper Blackrock Spire. Dire Maul will have new and improved loot, as well as Skullman's and Stratholm, and then we will have the rank 10 PvP class sets. Now, there was a ton of class changes, and I'll break those down all in the next video, but I did just want to get all of this information out to you guys as soon as I could. Also, do be aware there's a 50% XP buff on your way up. So a lot of cool things, a lot of really cool abilities are added. There's a new PvP/PvE event at Blackrock Mountain, which will be every 2 hours fighting for Blackrock Mountain, but you cannot do this event yet. It's just a timer currently. As well as there's some pretty big changes. Sulfurous, Hand of Ragnaros, the literal legendary weapon within Molten Core, now actually gives feral attack power, 358 attack power to Cat, Bear, and Dire Bear forms. This is going to be massive, especially with Cat Swipe. This will be huge. So this is definitely a feral weapon that they absolutely love. Maybe Retribution Paladin also. And Blizzard out here teasing us. Placeholder Ashbringer quest item. Placeholder, totally real, not fake quest starter item for an Ashbringer quest. Super duper real, totally not a joke. This item is what you get for killing the patchwork encounter inside of the raid, and if you're inside of the tests, and if you want to do that yourself, just create a character on the PTR and talk to this guy, Gurkthok. You'll have the same thing in Orgrimmar, and he will take you to Searing Basin, which will teleport you in front of the test work as patchwork. And again, guys, if you want to see me testing all of the classes, see how they perform, I will be doing that all on stream tomorrow. So if you want to see all of that, there you go. But this is honestly, I highly suggest you log in. A ton of changes. Even just the tier 0.5 sets have changes to their set bonuses for every single class, literally for every single class. So you'll see all of these changes coming in. Classes do a lot more damage than they used to. So we're gonna be a lot more powerful. We're gonna need things to be tuned up pretty heavily. Some of the classes got reworked heavily and are either a lot stronger or a lot weaker. And some of the classes definitely did not get too much love. I'm looking at you, Shadow Priest. From what I've heard, everyone that plays Shadow Priest is not super excited, but they got Vampiric Embrace, which is like amazing. So if you want to see a breakdown of all of the new runes and all of the rune changes, as well as all of the tier sets, definitely make sure to subscribe to the page or just check out the next video, and I'll see you guys all on the next one.